Who are the best goalkeepers in Football Manager 2017? Well, here at FM Wonderkids, we're going to answer that question for you. If you haven't watched one of these videos before, it's very simple. We do the scouting, so you don't have to. Up in the corner here, you can see the date is 2022, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out first a couple of notable goalkeepers from my list, and then I'm going to go into who you want to sign at the start of the game, how much you'll be able to get these goalkeepers for, and who ultimately is the best choice for you. So first off, we're going to pick up a couple of goalkeepers who might not necessarily be the best choice at the start of the game, but if you can pick them up at some point during the game, do consider it. So Wojciech Chesney, for example, we all know about him. Some great attributes here. Unfortunately, at the start of the game, it's not really conceivable that you pick him up because you'll have to buy him off Arsenal, and he's already on loan at another club. You'll spend a lot of money on him, and he won't be able to play for you straight away. So it's not really a strategy you want to go for straight away when you start the game. So I'm going to pick up a few more players here. Again, Fraser Foster, very great goalkeeper. If you do manage to pick him up during the game, then do consider it. But at the start of the game, you're going to be looking at spending about £32 million on him, which is a little bit too much for a goalkeeper who's not going to be the best. He's really good, but he's probably not going to be the best goalkeeper in the world. And he's spending £32 million. You want the best of the best. So again, Jack Butland's the same kind of deal. You probably look at spending about 40 million quid on this guy. He's going to be injured until November. It's not really what you want, but if you can pick him up then at a later date, that's what you want to be doing. So without further ado, we'll go. Oh, before we do that, we'll just obviously point out Tobias Courtois, people like Courtois, people like Dave the Save, David De Gea, and what's his name at Bayern Munich, Neuer. These are obviously the best goalkeepers in the world at the start of the game, but you're not realistically going to be able to buy them. You'll need £150 million, and who wants to spend £150 million on a goalkeeper? Not me. So I'll go into my shortlist here, and we'll run through the guys who you want to consider buying at the start. This guy here, Matthew Ryan, I think he starts off at Valencia. You can see he develops into a very, very capable goalkeeper. You can pick him up for around £7 million at the start of the game, £8 million I think off Valencia, and he's definitely someone you want to look at purchasing. If you look at his history in the last game, in the last season here, he had an average rating of 7 when he played every single game for Tottenham. So he's first choice at Tottenham now. So he's the kind of guy who does develop into that kind of pedigree. The next one here, Lafont, Alban Lafont. You can pick him up at the game at the start of the game for about £21 million. He's very solid all over us, 15s, 16s, very good mentally and very good physically. So £21 million at the start of the game will buy you this guy, and he's probably very young as well at the start of the game. He's 23-year-old here, so he will be one for the future. Edison, the Brazilian chap with the amazing kick in, you'll be able to pick him up at the start of the game for a fee of, I believe it was around £25 million, so it'll cost you around the same as Lafont, but similar in the fact that he's got the high mentals, not as good physically I guess, but he's got the kicking ability and some of the technical ability which maybe Lafont didn't have, so you'd be paying a little bit more for him there. I always have trouble pronouncing this guy's name, Predrag Rejakovic. Probably didn't get that right. Predrag, if you're watching, give me a ring. Let me know how to pronounce your name, because I've always wondered. This guy's been a good goalkeeper for the past couple of Football Manager games, and on this one, I believe you can pick him up for around £4.3 million at the start of the game. Be very careful with his work permit. It usually gets accepted on appeal. But don't put all your eggs in this basket because it might not get accepted. But do pick him up at the start of the game. Very good goalkeeper, very cheap. Timo Horn is another recommendation. He's got a release clause at the start of the game. Everyone loves a nice release clause. £7.5 million, or £7.75 million, I think it is, at the start of the game. Very, very good goalkeeper. He's the kind of guy you want to have in between your sticks. Timo Horn here. Let's have a little look at his attribute graph. Very, very rounded. Very good goalkeeper, 7.75 million. Do pick him up. Jan Oblak plays for Atletico Madrid, has played for Atletico Madrid for his entire career here up until 2022. I did manage to unsettle him on my recent save when I started the game, I unsettled him by making constant offers. He eventually ended up on the transfer list, and we picked him up for £25 million, which is an absolute steal because, as you can see, he's almost, well, he's knocking on the door of the best goalkeepers around. 29 still at 2022, which is a good age to still be. Obviously, goalkeepers, they last a lot longer. Some say they come into their prime a lot later as well, maybe 30s, 31. You get the best out of your goalkeeper as far as performances are concerned. And the next guy here, Ter Stegen, starts off at Barcelona. He's actually, well, surprisingly, it is achievable to buy him at the start of the game. You'd have to be a decent club. Again, the same with Allback. You'd have to be maybe a top 4 Premiership team for these guys to consider coming to you. But this guy's one of the best goalkeepers in the game. You'll be able to pick him up for just over £30 million, probably 31 million at the start of the game. It's a lot of money to spend on a goalkeeper. But if you're getting someone of this pedigree, you see his average ratings there. If you're getting someone of that pedigree, then that's the kind of money you have to spend if that's what you want at the start of the game. Donnarumma, this Italian chap, very, very, very solid all over the shop. And you can pick him up for a lot cheaper at the start of the game, 13 million. But again, he's playing for AC Milan. You might have to be a decent team for him to consider going to, but definitely have a look into the possibility of getting him. 13 million is a steal for someone of that quality. And at the top today, we're going to talk about this guy here. He's 16 at the start of the game, playing for Bayern Munich under 19s or under 18s. He develops obviously very well. You can see here, absolutely fantastic goalkeeper. He's only 22 here. His graph is one of the most rounded graphs for a goalkeeper that I've ever seen. You can pick him up at the start of the game for about £6 million, which is a steal. He might not be able to walk obviously straight into your first team, depending on what kind of team you are. But he's definitely someone you should look at getting hold of as soon as possible if you're in the market for a goalkeeper, because he does, as you can see, develop into an absolute beast. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please click like and subscribe, because there's more coming up soon. We got right backs, left backs, centre midfielders, all the way up to strikers. So yeah, have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon.